Well, hello, Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise fans. It's good to see everybody coming out one more time today. This is our third race of a very Super Sunday in the round of 16. I will be one of your commentators tonight, Demarine2, and I am joined this evening by Moonblaze Wolf. Blaze, how are you this evening?
I'm doing fantastic. I've been watching FF4 Free Enterprise all day, and I can't tell you how much that makes me happy on a nice holiday weekend like this. And we've got honestly, I'm more excited about this race, not to take anything away from any of the other ones, but I think this Golbez group is fantastic, and I can't wait to see this race tonight.
I mean, when you start drafting people who made the top 16 last year, you start, you kind of have to do that a little bit. But then you draft, you pick up Invenerable, who was part of the RPG Limit Break group, won the RPG Limit Break race. You add on dustygriff, who won World Series of Free Enterprise, and you add the very rapidly rising star of bakashinobi, and you've got 4 top 10 runners here from the actual league proper. That's a little frightening.
Yeah, in a way, I kind of scratched my head a little bit, looking at how Eisen drafted this group, but at the same time, I think he did it with an eye to putting on a good show and maybe doing a really awesome race with some friends and people he wanted to race against. So I gotta respect that, and as a commentator, and I think to everybody out there watching tonight on Twitch, we're gonna have a lot of fun with this one.
Yeah, I mean, if you missed the action earlier today, you will have missed 2 more runners being eliminated from the tournament. Of course, sad times today for Error taking the drop in the 3-way race. So we have Elmagus and Night Dew, 1 and 2 from last year, advancing to the top 8. We then saw Woo Bear, who drafted out his group in the Dark Knight group, and we saw him take the fall, being the first drafter to be eliminated and finishing in tie for 13th place. But now again, we've got four just absolute masterful players coming out, and I am certain that they are going to give us the heck of a show today.
Yeah, and most of these, it's not everybody played each other in the preliminary rounds, but I know for a fact that bakashinobi played all of these competitors in the 4 round robin matches. Did take a loss to all of them, but not by a whole heck of a lot in a couple different cases, and so I'm sure he's going to be looking for revenge tonight. And at the same time, eizantayama and invenerable have probably raced against each other more times than they can count or care to remember, so they're looking for a good race as rivals as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like, literally anything could happen tonight. I would not be surprised by any 4 of these runners finishing 1st or 4th here. There's a lot to run for, though. We are about to hit the road, though. The highway to the Zenith Zone takes off one more time here. And let's see what we've got to go with this Kane. We've got Kane and Rydia. We have, to open us up, a key to the Barren Waterway. This will be an interesting start.
Yeah, Baron Key automatically kind of gives us another check on the overworld that may hold our underground access through the Baron Castle. So it'll be interesting to see how our runners choose to route this, depending on what they turn up in those first couple early spots. Also, Rydia is just an incredibly dynamic character, especially in this flag set, so we'll be looking out for some of the things that make her powerful right out of the gate as well.
I'm excited for Sylph Summon.
Yeah, Rydia, you can get a Sylph Summon, you can get a Dragon Whip, you can get a Heroine Robe, so many different directions that Rydia can go in early on here. We also see a Rosa at the Baron Inn, guarded by Bahamut, which is going to be a free boss for our runners, so another little interesting wrinkle there. We'll be curious to see how aggressive they are about maybe taking on that spot.
Absolutely. So Invenerable, of course, not going into Baron immediately, ends up going and checking the waterfall spot first. This has been his own sort of personal meta. Finds Golbez in the waterfall, so he knows that a very, very annoying boss is off the table and not blocking progress anywhere. So that's actually a pretty valuable piece of information to start off. River's letting us know that we've got a tiara and a lunar staff, so we're going to have the Rydia starter kit here to give her some power and some defensive power as well, which will be real good.
Yeah, and Kane, it's usually pretty easy to find him a weapon that will make him valuable as well. I saw dustygriff turn up Silver Sword, which I think I maybe saw Poison Axe as well, so Kane can just use so many different things, and he's very Very powerful early on just because of that jump command. He can hide in the back row. It's just pretty solid start here for our runners.
Yeah, nothing super interesting, like I said, other than the Tiara and Lunar Staff there in Dempsey. And there's a Full Moon Boomerang in case they get edge. They do have access to a gated character spot in Baron Castle as well, potentially. So, the one thing about these flags is that no character is assured, but you cannot see Fusoya or Edge, the two most powerful characters, at an ungated spot. So Mount Hobbs, the Baron Inn, either of the starting characters, all of them are blanks for Fusoya or Edge, but there's a chance that he might be waiting for us all in Baron to overpower the seed a little bit more.
Yep, it's going to be interesting to see this early game play out. Very aggressive start here for Invenerable. He's already well into Antlion Cave and is probably going to give us our first check here momentarily.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's very little prep going into this check, and that's always a tough thing, is that the big thing about the early game is balancing that preparation, and Invenerable's done about 0 so far compared to everybody else, it feels like. So we'll see if this pays off or not. There's also a Moon Veil in that Line Cave, though, which is a nice pickup.
Yeah, I did notice the Moon Veil. I'm a big fan of rushing Antlion Cave right away, just because really the only thing that can mess you up too badly is not having a Star Veil. Oh, and he runs into the Gauntlet and resets, so that's going to be a big note for Invenerable here, playing very aggressive, or maybe just finishing off the sweep here, but I'll be curious to see if anybody else chooses to take the time sink that is the Gauntlet this early on. I suspect we'll probably see a couple other people reset out of there as well.
Yeah, just chat letting us know that there was a check on the summon at Hobbs for the Hobbs flag for Rydia, and it was the bomb summon, so something nobody really probably wants. It's pretty atrocious. We've got a chat question from Zilch. Is Thunder Rod multi-target? Yes, but it casts Lit 1 and not at a very high magic power, so it's not going to get you through the Gauntlet pretty quickly at all. The only the only rod that'll get you through the Gauntlet efficiently is the Stardust Rod, and we definitely don't have one of those right now.
Nope. So yeah, we're getting to the point here where we're going to see if anybody chooses to take on that Gauntlet. Invenerable is checking what's going on Hobbs here now, and yeah, we'll see what happens here. Looks like Baka's going to take it on, so we'll get at least one check here.
Yeah, I mean, Kane's got some decent armor for this point. The Lunar Staff is going to do enough damage to take out enemies here, so looks like it's going to be okay for the most part.
It's just, the thing about this check is it's not going to be that much faster later on either. You might be able to game it out in a way that you can shave off a couple seconds, but, you can already see on Baka's screen, like, he's already one-shotting everything in these formations anyway, so that's not going to change anytime soon. The one interesting note I do just want to make, because it makes me a little bit sad, as we see Edward here with the Dark Elf on top of Hobbs, but this is the Golbez group, and unfortunately we did already find Golbez in a very non-required, uninteresting spot, so no surprise ha-ha-has for our runners tonight.
You know what, maybe that's for the best. I don't really enjoy that. It looks like, so Eisen's also going to commit here to the play at the 16 men in the middle of an Antlion Cave. And so we're going to kind of see how this goes. Invenerable wants no part of Edward here, it looks like. So he's going to start hunting around elsewhere, which means he's probably going to go into Baron next and do some quick looting there. Or he's going to make a Lyra and go to football, one or the other.
Well, at this point, he's skipped so much stuff. I think he just maybe wants to get something on the board. Another possible reason why he's leaving that Edward for later, we've seen this in some of our other races. Edward's not going to have a huge impact on your party at this point, but later on, you might want to leave him to come back and pick up as a quick agility anchor. So makes a lot of sense to me. We'll see if any of our runners decide to do that later on, depending on how the end game is going.
Yep, so, I mean, I think that Invenerable's play might be that he is looking to get his hands on, some use items in a shop someplace that can speed up the fight down here, so just allowing him to one-shot the parties. Potentially is an option there, but, bakashinobi first one out, no, that's actually a real good find right now.
Yeah, that was a good find, and meanwhile, Invenerable is taking on the other blue robe, the Water Hag, in Fabul Castle. So we'll see how many of these blue robes end up being fought during the course of tonight's seed by Invenerable and everybody else.
I mean, at this rate, if Invenerable does come down here eventually, it will be 12, but it's very unlikely that he'll come back because it's just a white spear, which means it's not underground access in any way. It just happens, though, that he won't have the white spear, whereas everybody else is going to be rocking some pretty powerful cane tech here.
Yeah, it's definitely not insignificant at this point, to kind of have Kane online for the rest of the seed. But, I mean, I don't know. If you had told me that Gauntlet's got a white spear, I don't think I would have fought through it to get it. So, meanwhile, more...
I don't know, at 4 minutes, it's hard for me to say no to a ultra-rare weapon, honestly, because it affects the entirety of the seed. If you told me at 45 minutes I'd get a white spear, I'd be a little bit more worried.
It's true, it does scale nicely. If you are going to get it, you want it as early as possible, so there is that. And I was also just going to make the comment, Invenerable, in addition to all the stuff that he's finding in that Fabul item shop, which is very, very loaded tonight, picked up a Earth Crystal from his defense of the Fabul Castle. So more overworld checks possibly for our runners. We may not be seeing that underground for quite a while at this point.
Yeah, no, I mean, that was Sirens, Hourglass 2s, Ether 2s, and of course the beloved Party Rock, because, you want to be able to extend your party in a situation like this. Edward Rydia, not terribly exciting. I mean, White Spear Cane, of course, is incredibly exciting, but, the ability to sort of upgrade here really quickly is kind of a big deal. Inven's going to add on some Mute Arrows and a Dancing Dagger here, so not a bad find for him.
No, definitely not. Rydia will be able to make good use of that those Dancing Daggers for a while. And, yep, we're just kind of waiting for that next stone to be overturned at this point.
Yeah, looks like bakashinobi also does want to add on an Edward here. Look at that jump for 1,000 damage already. Goodness me. Yeah, that's the power of the white spear in hand here. It's gonna do work.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll just sort of see how much it allows these other three runners to kind of close this bit of a gap that Invenerable's opened up early on. So I suspect he will not have any reason to go back to Antlion Cave at all. Unless there's maybe like a Darkness Crystal Hunt or something later. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out.
Yeah, it's always an interesting thing to gamble off, and it's not going to hurt him in terms of actual key items, which is great. But everyone else is playing this seed in a pretty straightforward manner, right? Antlion, add on your third character for a little bit of extra safety to protect your cane. Dusty's going to reset out. I don't think he's interested in Edward right now, though. Right, go to Fabul. And Invenerable is just trying to flip the meta here. It's like, let's skip Baron, let's go do Fabul first because Antlion is bad and I don't want any part of it. So, very, very much sort of flipping the script a little bit, which means we're probably going to see him on Mount Ordeal soon enough.
I could see that, or he might end up going to Baron in soon, because again, maybe get a peek at what that second boss is. He did also grab some Arty arrows from the Teroya treasury somewhere in there, so those will potentially be very useful later on.
Yep, then he gets an Ogre Axe, which will be a decent but not perfect substitute for the white spear. So, weapons I guess are not fairly hard to come by here. eizantayama is picking up the Edward here, so two runners have decided that Edward is better off meditating on top of the mountain forever.
Or until there is a better use for him, for sure. But yeah, so you can just see these little strategic decisions that some of the runners are making, and in a race with four excellent runners like this, it'll be really fun as the race progresses, just to see whether those margins shrink or expand, or how that factors into the overall race.
Yep. So we do have Dusty and Baka taking on the Water Hag here, so they're gonna get this out of the way, and they're gonna add on their Earth Crystals soon enough. And Invenerable turns to the south, turns to Baron, so it's going to catch up on those item checks here. nothing that would have helped him get through Antlion any easier, so that's probably just fine.
Yeah, if nothing else, he can, like you said, kind of catch up on the shop and catch up on the looting, and then I suspect he'll do at least a check of this Baron infight to see who the second boss is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Bahamut's not terribly scary in the first spot. It's probably a situation where you jump with Kane and it's all over but the screaming at that point.
Yeah, he'll be able to take this down. Honestly, even the Dancing Dagger might more or less one-shot it here, so...
Very close at 368. It's about 400 hit points here, so no big deal.
And we're waiting for Antlion. So very good fight here. If he can, take care of his Kane, he's not going to have any problem. Yeah, Moonveil. So he can just jump at this point, and this is a free fight now.
Yep, this is a good place to burn off the Moonveil, because Antlion is just going to one-shot your party members otherwise, unless you have a ton of heavy armor, which we haven't really seen yet. So, protecting your Kane, he comes down, he's doing, 600 damage a jump, even with just the axe, and then it's just a barrier miss, and then swinging away. Don't actually swing away, though. The counter will kill Kane here.
Yeah, I noticed that as well. I'm not sure if it was a missed input or what happened there, but he should be fine here. And yeah, very aggressive play burning that Moonveil. Hopefully he won't feel like he needs that later on, and this will pay off for him once he gets through this fight.
I mean, there's something to be said for kind of the mentality of people wanting to just take it with them because there might be something worse around the bend. But on the flip side of the coin, if you don't need it, but you needed it here and you take a couple of wipes, then you've blown a ton of time. So you have to be really aware of that. I think a lot of the technique in the early game for new runners is how much of that on these tough flags, right? How much do you spend in terms of what you found in the early game? And I think spending it is better than not.
Yeah, I'm definitely a big fan of using those items early on, because eventually you'll get to a point where you really just don't need them anymore, and at that point you traded some time to get that, and he gets the hook, so that is big right there.
On the flip, I'm sure that just burning off the Moonveil, that's not exactly what he wanted to see there, because now he does not have it in case it's a spot where a Moonveil would be game-breaking at, like, the King Queen Evelyn spot.
Yeah, that's the exact risk I thought of right away when he did burn it. So, yeah, hopefully he won't need it. Hopefully he'll get to that fourth character, find something good, and just keep rolling here. This is pretty exciting development for sure.
Yeah, I mean, all of our runners are probably going to head there very shortly. Otherwise, Dusty, Baka, and Eizan are looting heavily here in Toria first. They're all stocked up on inventory from the football shop, so they probably got sirens, they probably got hourglasses. Again, that preparation just went really quickly. I don't think the only thing I didn't see was star veils, but like I said, what's that?
I believe the star veils were in Silvera. I know I saw them on somebody's screen.
Even better. I mean, Inven tacking on some coffins here at the Oasis town there, which of course the name eludes me at this point because I'm tired as heck. Kaipo, thank you.
And chat correcting me to say that they were in Troya, but yeah, we found them. Invenerable doing a little more checking, and everybody else doing some looting here. This is really interesting. I do expect most of our runners will route in that Baron in fairly early, so at this point I wouldn't expect anybody to be too far behind Invenerable, but at the same time, he is definitely, assuming the hook is where we need to go to get underground, he's in a pretty good lead at this point.
Yeah, I don't doubt that someone's going to do Zod and look for some character power here to go with that Kane and the Rosa that they're invariably going to get from the Baronin, because all of our three runners otherwise know that she's there. They all made that check already. So the whole idea is that, okay, Baka's going to give us a quick Mist Cave check here, so giving us the double safety check here. Which I know eizantayama basically never makes, interestingly enough. So, it's always good that there's kind of that mixed meta on, am I going to chase down a Mist Dragon? And we are going to see some dancing dolls and then reset.
It's a trade-off. I'm personally a fan of checking those spots when you're kind of in the neighborhood anyways. It doesn't really set you back too much, and it's easy enough just to reset out of them. So it's good for us as viewers and commentators that we've seen both of those spots now, and we know that there's not a Mist Dragon hiding in either of those.
Yeah, we've got Dusty on a highly divergent play here as he is hitting up Mount Ordeals early before Baron in, before the possibility of a hook character. This is a very interesting choice. So we'll see how this pays out at this point. I kind of like it. Again, very aggressive, very Dusty Griff kind of play.
Yeah, definitely. And Invenerable, meanwhile, decided to head back to Antlion Cave. He picked up some Thor Rages, so kind of like one of our things that we were speculating on is maybe waiting till you get some of those attack items to make this gauntlet as painless as possible. But he'll pick up his White Spear at least, so it's not useless by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, on the flip side of the coin, he does lose the little bit of time for the double dive, so it's not perfect. It's just to kind of keep that in mind that, you know, this play, while it's a little bit sharp, if you're a little more, if you're a little bit more setup heavy early on, you could have done this without. But again, it's kind of the gamble you make. You're expecting the Antlion boss to be pretty free, honestly, with just a Kayn, period, and it didn't quite work out that way.
Yeah, and another thing that I'm not sure he found in his searches, but you know, you ideally want to have exit for Antlion Cave as well. So not totally sure if he picked the exits up anywhere, but that would be another little mini time save, but also just another reason to wait potentially.
Yeah, also in terms of the We're Team Mount Ordeals tonight, eizantayama also climbing the mountain right now. We're seeing Leviathans in the first spot. Dusty's jumping for about 1,000 damage a jump here, so should be pretty straightforward, honestly. Riddy is likely to get iced here in just a moment if Kayn gets out of the... Oh, wow, 264. Kayn just drops from an ice 2 at this spot.
Yeah, this is really tricky considering who we have available to us right now. So we'll see how he handles this. It's not going to take too many cycles from Kayn, but as you can see, he's dropping to those ice 2s. So we'll see how this all plays out.
Yeah, Kayn is doing a lot of dying, and that's not really a good sign. This is a place where you could throw up veils to sort of keep the party alive, bounce back those ice 2s. If they're not killing you, they're killing Leviathan. That's probably for the best.
Yeah, and we might see Eisen have a little bit better of a time here because he's got 2 Dancing Dagger equipped characters. Actually, I saw Artemis arrows plus the Dancing Dagger, so probably has a little bit more firepower than Dusty does. But Dusty also was able to get up that Star Veil now, so he should be fine. Meanwhile, Baka is doing Baron in.
All right, so yeah, Baka's sort of sticking to the game plan, as I lovingly know it. Look, I'm good at this game, so I'm just going to do the checks in the straight line order and get through it just fine. You know, while again, everybody else who's also very good at this game, do not get me wrong, are all definitely sort of working at neat angles to sort of get around and make this work out. Kayn dead for bakashinobi, not ideal here, so gonna have to life him up and start again here with Kayn, try to get him back into fighting shape.
And I believe both Eisen and Dusty did get through that Leviathan, so we are gonna next see everybody's favorite spot for Yang.
Oh yeah, this will be great. If you haven't seen this before, give him just a moment so he can show off for you. There he is. There he is, gonna kick you in the back of the head, not the front. We love that. It's one of the most beautiful graphical glitches that we never knew existed.
Would not be possible without the free enterprise algorithms and such. So thank you so much. It's always magical when we see Yang at the spot.
Kayn, of course, plenty powerful to just take the hits here. The kicks are hitting for 27. Kayn and Yang is not getting punches off because Kayn's in the air. So jump for 1,000, jump for 1,000, jump for 1,000. This should be over pretty briefly.
And just another quick update. Invenerable dives the hook route and finds good news Edge, bad news Kanazo.
Kanazo at the Rubicon spot is bad times, everybody. Oh my. Gonna go A, get more Thor Rages, because that will keep the party alive, and B, gonna get more Thor Rages, and C, probably gonna do every spot on the overworld before dealing with that mess.
Yeah, this is not what our runners want to see. For those who don't know, so if the hook is in fact our only path to the underground, the reason why this is bad news is because that spot you generally are expected to take in the vanilla game at about level 25 to 30, I want to say, in that neighborhood. Obviously, our characters are quite a bit lower than that at this point. But Kanazo's wave attack does hit point based damage, and that spot starts with a lot of hit points.
All right, so Invenerable adding on a lot of power to the party, so his options to do overworld spots are basically all free at this point for the most part. Dusty and Eisen team Mount Ordeals became team, oh god, we've got access to the moon. The Darkness Crystal sitting at the top of Mount Ordeals. Yet again, it feels like Invenerable shortly behind. He is, again, like we said, knowing what he knows, he is unlikely to do anything in the underground, and he has, like, he's got a decently equipped edge and a White Spear cane, so he's going to make really short work of most of these checks anyway.
Yeah, at seeing that Darkness Crystal at Ordeals, that completely changes things. I would be very, very surprised if any of our runners tried to push through that hook route before either A, checking all of the spots on the overworld looking for the magma key, or B, going to the moon to also look for the magma key, but also grind for the levels that they need to make Kanazo fairly trivial.
Oh yeah, and if they end up having to hook route to finish out the seed because they get the parts of Go mode along the way, so be it. Then yeah, they're just going to finish their grind, and then you know, even the hook boss, who can be fairly scary with the 23,000 hit points, will probably fall prey to some pretty heavy hits here.
Yeah, there's a lot of good strategic options here. Rivers is pointing out in chat that if you sequence things correctly, Baronin and Zot will give you fresh characters as well as going to the moon. But if you find the right character at the right time at a low level, you can go up to the moon and do a really nice slingshot on that character to get their levels pretty much supercharged. So this is going to be we're going to see some pretty cool play here coming up, I suspect.
Yeah, and if Fu or Tella show up here, then possibly in play would be we might see some D machines. I know Invenerable sort of leaned towards that as sort of the counterplay to the meta here, right? Just get all of your levels at one time. It doesn't matter if you've got 10 key items or not. You know, slingshot your weakest character, make them absolutely incredible. You know, I love that play personally too. It sort of fell out of favor with the 18 League and World Series, but now it sort of is back in full effect.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the D machine grind, but you want it to, first of all, you absolutely have to have Fusoya or Tella. We haven't seen either of them yet. Honestly, with this party, Rosa, Rydia, Kain, and Edge are 4 fantastic characters. I would probably be more inclined just to, if I was in Invenerable's position, finish off Ordeals here and then probably just go up to the moon to see who that character is. Because you probably already have a slingshot option at this point. He's also leaving Rydia dead, by the way. That is completely on purpose. It's to set up that slingshot as well. And depending on who that 5th character he finds on the moon is, he might have a really good idea of what he wants to do next.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are going to get a look at this. So there's still 3 character roles that we're blind on, the 2 on Earth Crystal at the top of Zot and the 1 in Baron, which we're going to see shortly from bakashinobi. Dusty, who hadn't added on a single character yet, is going to get... he's going to get a Rosa, whether he likes it or not. And I'm sure he likes it. I'm sure.
Yeah, Rosa's definitely a good character to find there. Not going to give you access to weak, but that is very, very solid. It is also worth keeping in mind that Eisen and Dusty haven't seen the hook yet, so they really are not sure maybe what value there is on the moon. Invenerable kind of has full information at this point, and Baka has partial information. So that's a pretty meaningful difference at this point too. Meanwhile, we have on the throne of Baron the Elements fight for bakashinobi.
It's a very Rubicon Christmas, it looks like here, as we're going to back up Rubicon with the Elements.
I'm not sure we're going to even see Rubicon a second time, though, considering Kane's got that that white spear, but maybe. Looks like that didn't do too much.
Yeah, interestingly enough, that this is actually resistant enough, and also, you know, just not doing the damage here, interestingly enough. This spot is fairly resistant, so that's probably why.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if the Mylon version in the Elements fight is still weak to Holy, the way that the regular Mylon Z is. It may have something to do with that as well.
It is. But, it is not, but Volvalis is.
Well, we got that to look forward to, but we got to get through this Rubicon first. Okay, that's good. I suspect Baka is in the clear now. And meanwhile, Invenerable heading back down, Ordeals with that Darkness Crystal in hand and a lot of options on his plate.
Yeah, eizantayama about to add on his hook, so he's going to get the bad news. dustygriff's one probably pretty straightforward fight away here. From getting double Rosa, you know, twice the white mage, twice as good, along with his hook. So everyone will know that the hook is in play here.
Yep, and then I think it'll be really interesting to see where people go from here. So, but yeah, Invenerable going right to Ordeals, or excuse me, to Mysidia to summon his Lunar Whale as well. So I suspect he's going to go up to the moon and find that second Rosa, and then we'll see what he decides to do with that. But yeah, this is getting very, very interesting here.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those seeds where it's a fairly wide open choice. You know, there's a lot of options here in terms of how you want to get your power right now. Which characters do you want to play with at this point to kind of get going? Right, elements go down. Bakashinobi jumps and hides from the total party kill of the Fire 3 blast, doing about 1,000 damage to the ladies of the group there. We'll see what his reward is, at least character-wise first, and then... Ooh, well, Bakashinobi might just get bailed out here.
Yeah, that Cecil's going to send him right off to Ordeals, I suspect, and I think he's going to be pretty happy with how that plays out. But yeah, it's really interesting, this tension between trying to build a better party and also having a fairly functional party that can honestly handle the moon no problem at this point, just might be a little bit slower.
Yeah, no real good sword yet here, so there is a chance that Bakashinobi may make the I'm gonna ditch Cecil at the top of the Tower of Zot play. I've seen it happen before. It is a tough decision, certainly. But, you know, a lot of the time it's really hard to pass up on Cecil in these flags, but we'll see.
And he finds the package, so yet another character check for Bakashinobi here, but nothing that really gets him any closer to the underground other than through that Kanazo.
Oh my, this is shaping up to be really wild right now. Like, this has just been a wild ride for the first 30 minutes, just with our runners going anywhere and everywhere. Bakashinobi saving and making the bold plays. Like, look, I'm here right now. Let's see if I get a freebie at the Odin spot on top of it. Let me see if I can double down on this good play. And yeah. It is... Oh, that's not free.
I mean, information's a good thing to have, so knowing that the D-Lunars are there probably will benefit him later on. This is a good party for D-Lunars, especially with that white spear, so he's probably not scared about coming back and checking that later and can kind of route it in accordingly. And then I think everybody else is about to go find the bad news / good news about Edge and Kanazo. Meanwhile, Invenerable going down the lunar subterrane.
He's got Artemis arrows. He's got a pretty good party. He's got sirens. He's going to drop his... He's very notable for dropping his encounter speed here. He only goes down to floor 4, which means I believe he's looking for Tri-Warlocks here to kill off with the coffins that he's gotten.
Yeah, this is... I like this grind quite a bit. Even with those Artemis arrows, this grind is much safer, particularly with this party, because you're going to get that hourglass off. Worst case scenario, even if you don't get that hourglass off, their second round, they just cast the psych spell, so they're not going to drop your characters beyond maybe those first 3 fire spells that they throw.
Yep, and then you just patch everybody up, and you go to town, and you just, early on you'll fling coffins because, again, you have no stats yet. You really can't kill them directly. It's going to take forever. Enemies on the moon have a little bit of health. And of course, leaving Rydia dead as well, as we noted before. So, looking to hang on to an agility anchor here.
Yeah, and for folks who have not seen this grind before, it is essentially the same amount of experience as well. It's slightly less than if you killed 2 gold dragons, but only by a couple thousand.
Yep, but again, as long as it's coffinable, you kind of make the coffin play here. It ends up, being a pretty sharp play. He's also going to equip those mute arrows he picked up because they do quad damage. I think he's got an assassin dagger on edge too, so got all the tools in his back pocket here.
Yeah, this first fight's going to be the coffin one, and then I suspect if he does any more, it'll just be attacking with those race-specific weapons and the assassin dagger.
Yep, Eizantayama has got a protect ring from the Staleman chest here, so that's a really nice piece of armor.
Yeah, that'll be good to have for sure. I was going to comment on that as well. So nice play by Eizan.
Dusty's gonna take his edge to work here in Baron. Gonna go down to Baron Castle. Looks like Dusty, observing his play of late, he definitely is one of the runners who plays things in a very direct manner. He'll full clear Earth before going underground. He'll full clear Earth before Moon. And again, a very linear, direct player, but he is sneaky fast. I'm picking up a poison axe and an assassin dagger here too, so he's pretty happy about that, I'm sure. But yeah, everybody's starting to add on the characters and really starting to kind of get things going here.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the nice things about the way I would say both Dusty and Inven have played this seed so far is they're just sticking to what they think is the best play, and they're being very decisive. And I think that's always a good way to race things like this. If you want to stay on Earth and full clear the Earth, then commit to the Earth. Invenerable, from talking to him, loves these early moon plays, feels very, very comfortable up there, doing any number of grinds and getting some levels. You do get a lot of transit time in that, but boy, he's going to have the levels that the other runners do not have. And then it's just going to be a matter of if he can leverage those into more advantage the longer the seed goes on.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like dustygriff is taking on this Rubicon right now at the first spot in Baron Castle. So lining up some items here, working on keeping this party very well alive. The best is yet to come for him, though. He does not know the elements are behind, and the elements are pretty nasty in that Baron Castle spot, so...
So bakashinobi actually ditches Edward for Kane and keeps that Cecil around. I also just saw him throw that curse ring onto Dark Knight Cecil. He may be taking a run at the hook route here.
Oh yeah, he has absolutely taken a dive here. He is going in because that is a setup to try and get his party to proper agility so that there'll be no problem with that Kainazo, so that everybody will get an action before Kainazo does, basically. A very, very intriguing strategy. If this pays out, this will be fantastic for him. Setting up hourglasses, he finds the Mad Ogres immediately in the first chest, which is precisely what you want here.
Yep, so he's going to take that fight down. Shouldn't be a problem. Invenerable just does his grind and actually comes back to Earth now. He kept that Rydia dead the whole time, so that maybe can do a slingshot here soon, and we'll see what he decides to do next. It looks like he's also headed back to that hook route.
Yeah, everybody fading Zot right now. Nobody wants any part of the Earth Crystal at this point. It looks like it's a long trip, honestly. It's a long cutscene at the end. That second boss spot, if it's a magic user, like if it's Mega Sisters at this point, it can be really nasty, even with these extra levels. So, so Invenerable deciding to take his levels to Kainazo and probably smash through here. dustygriff is doing some looting and scooting here at the moment before stepping in here. And yeah, Invenerable checked no moon bosses. He didn't go further down. He didn't even look at he didn't even take a stop and look at the Wyvern spot, which makes me very sad because it's my favorite spot on the moon to do.
Yeah, It's interesting to me. I agree that he kind of just went up there to grind, but he probably feels confident in his party now to get through this Kanazo. And considering we're only at about 37 minutes into the seed, that's a very respectable time for getting through that hook route, especially with such a difficult boss. So I can see the logic here as well.
Yeah, just it's always very interesting deciding on how you want to get your levels. eizantayama looks like he may be committing to the moon here. I don't know how deeply he's going to commit to this play, but he's up here now. dustygriff is dealing with the elements, but with Edge and Kane, it's looking pretty good right now. Edge doesn't have any levels, so hitting for 300 still, but he'll get there.
I do really hope somebody commits to full clearing the moon early. It might be Eisen, but he also may just be up here checking that character as well, hoping to spike a Fusoya or a Tella or something like that. So it's kind of interesting how the seed has given our runners a whole lot of options, and aside from maybe some grinding and character checking, everybody seems fairly committed to staying on the Earth for a while.
A whole lot of options, and they're all bad. The Free Enterprise story. So good news, Dusty got off a Star Veil on Rosa. Bad news, it just healed Rubicant for 500 damage. This glare is going to just destroy his party here. That is an unfortunate break for dustygriff as he takes a fall to the Rubicant form of the elements, which is, as we saw, very, very dangerous.
Yeah, that is no joke, and that's a really difficult spot for that as well. Dusty unfortunately losing a fair amount of time here because, there's not a very convenient save option in that Baron Castle, and I think most of us who run this game a lot do not really fear that spot, but that is one exception for sure that doesn't start with W and end with Wyvern.
So, Bakashinobi found the Mist Dragon. Has a Bahamut summon as well. I didn't see where he picked that up, but he does have ultimate power at this point in time.
The Bahamut summon must have been from the Mad Ogre chest, but takes a reset here. I think he's going to maybe come up with a slightly different plan now that he knows that the Mist Dragon is hanging out there.
I think it looks like Invenerable's plan here is, look, I got 2 characters in Casablanca. I'm just going to protect everybody and then just slaughter this Mist Dragon for your entertainment. So Mist Dragon is oddly a kind of a free fight. Sometimes the game plan is just stick a silk web on it, get it slow enough that you get enough actions to just deal with the fight at that point. But again, Invenerable's numbers are big here. Like, he is powerful, and he's just going to take advantage of that right now.
Yeah, this shouldn't be too bad. Eisen is very deep on the moon, and he is grinding, so I think we are going to see a little bit of moon action here from Eisen. And Dusty is getting ready to retry Baron Castle.
Yeah, and it's just very interesting. Bakashinobi setting up illusions, setting up some blinks here. But he's trying to basically set up the one-shot with Rydia once we get the unmissed here. It looks like he's going to wait on this now because it's about to turn to mist after the 3rd swing. But it's going to sit back on this until the timing is right and then unleash fiery dragon power.
Yeah, my only concern here for Bakashinobi is we can already see Invenerable having a much easier time with this fight. That is definitely going to carry over to that Kanazo fight as well. And, Baka might have a lot of trouble with that.
Yeah, I mean, slashing away for 1,000 a pop, though, Invenerable makes quick work of the Mist Dragon once it demists. Bakashinobi does exactly 6,000 damage. Just dead center exact hit for precisely the right amount of damage.
I'll be really curious to see if Baka does a save here and actually gets out and checks that Mist Dragon spot. That would be a really interesting play if he decided to do that.
Invenerable, on the other hand, is just like, look, I'm powerful. I've got the big numbers right now. I want to get some levels on... I don't know if he wants getting levels on Rydia. Rydia gets raised up here for free. Inven showing no fear. eizantayama just picking up a bunch of levels, though, right now, getting through the 2nd Ryu. It's a little slow because you don't have weak. You have a limited supply of Artemis arrows, and, you have no level. So the multiplier, while nice, you can see is hitting for 1,000 damage, 750 damage. So he's working his way through, but he'll get a bunch of levels from this once all is said and done.
The nice thing about this fight for Eisen is he just needs to have one Artemis arrow left over at the end. His Rosas will get Berserk from this fight, and then he can just Berserk, have the Artemis arrow Rosa Berserk herself, and she will never lose that last Artemis arrow.
Absolutely. So it looks like we've got some Lit 1 setups here from Bakashinobi with Rydia. So going to stick the Lit 1. It looks like Inven is going to be doing something similar with the Thor Rages to keep the waves down and keep his party, you know, safe from encroaching shores here.
And Dusty's about to have his rematch with the Rubicant form of the Elements fight here as well, so hopefully he'll have a better time here. I think he popped the Moon Veil on one of his characters, so that should help.
He's going for Reflect strats here with the Cure 2s as well, so he's trying to get the Reflect kill, never see the end of the Myelin phase. It's going to be slow but effective here. I don't know if he can Reflect the White Spear use. It would maybe be a little bit faster, but it's something to think about.
Oh no, he triggered the Rubicant. I'm sure he did not mean to do that.
All right, everything is terrible all of a sudden. This is very bad. Oh, this is going to hurt a lot.
Yeah, we'll see what he's able to do with this. Hopefully he can keep Kane airborne for a little bit, and that should help. He tries a Grimoire out here, maybe spike a Shiva or something. Oh, Titan will work, maybe.
Titan does good damage. Titan is the third most damaging summon in the game, and 1,000 damage is enough to get the clean kill. Under the weight intensifies Final Fantasy XIV fans, Titan sinks the ship here, and dustygriff is going to get out alive.
Hey, you know, you got to get a little lucky sometimes, too.
I mean, you've got to be good to get lucky, and dustygriff is nothing if not good at this, so there we go.
And he's going to get a Paladin Cecil, whereas Baka has that Dark Knight Cecil. Meanwhile, Eisen, as I suspected, is just cleaning up on these gold dragons now with those Artemis arrows. So he's going to be grinding away for a while, I think. And then I suspect we'll see some moon bosses as well.
Yeah, that's probably the play here. Let's not leave there. And Bakashinobi, of course, popping Bahamut here, which is going to catch up some of that DPS loss. Invenerable's in the shell, so both of these Kainazo fights going pretty smoothly, honestly. Very good play from both of our runners here. We're probably one more Bahamut summon away from cooking this turtle, too.
Yeah, and Inven gets through. Baka is in shell phase, so they're both looking pretty solid at this point. I love this aggressive taking on of Kainazo here by Baka in particular. The setup and the preparation and thinking that goes into getting through the fight with the party he has as opposed to the fight Invenerable has is really, really impressive. Yeah,
no, I always appreciate that sort of play. I mean, it wasn't strictly necessary here, but it's definitely going to look real nice. Again, this was such a clean Kainazo fight. Going to get the remedy off, which is a little bit annoying. We can see that the spot has 25,200 hit points, by the by. That heal's probably not going to matter. Rydia is probably going to torch it for 7 grand, and that's about the end of that. So, Invenerable Underground, Bakashinobi about a 1 minute away. dustygriff making the Odin check, as did eizantayama before. Or Bakashinobi did before. He's going to find Lunar Dragons, and that's probably about... He's going to take this on, looks like.
He does have that White Spear, and jump from Kane doesn't trigger their nasty script. Plus, if he survives long enough, he could do his Lunar Frog strat. So it's definitely a winnable fight at this point. Maybe a little bit of a reach for Dusty, but yeah, and he does take the reset there. But he did have options there, I would say.
Yeah, certainly a chance. But again, when your team's getting one shot when they're on the ground, it's probably not a pretty sight at that point.
Well, and if you're in Dusty's position too, you also really need to weigh after that Elements wipe, you know, how much time do I want to waste doing something that I know isn't going to get me anywhere, and, you know, when I can just come back and do it later.
Yeah, well, chat's like there's the Tiara, Moonveil is an option there. There were options certainly abound, but again, I think people always forget that in the moment when you're in the heat of it, in the middle of a race, and you're mulling all of this stuff over, the adrenaline's pumping, your heart's rolling. It's sometimes hard to make that call. It's a little bit tough. And eizantayama's first pause on the moon, finding Volvalis. With Kane and party, thankfully.
Yeah, that's not what you want to see. That the cane will help, but this is it's going to hit kind of hard. Baka is going to start closing that gap with Inven with some eggs here. Meanwhile, Inven goes straight to Dwarf Castle, and I believe we got our employment dwarf check as well.
I don't usually keep track of that. I mean, I'm also on team Don't Do Heart, but you know. But yeah, D-Lunar spot is Volvalis, so we're going to be here a minute. dustygriff is at the top of Tower of Zot right now, so he's going to give us our first look at what's at Earth Crystal.
Hopefully something that's not painful for him, considering how he's kind of behind already a little bit, I think, by all objective measures. And this is a free fight, so that's a good start.
Yeah, bakashinobi stopping and dropping some eggs here, so wanting to get some levels onto the party here. 34 grand a shot here. dustygriff, of course, is just gonna get the life glitch too for a little bit of extra experience here and lay waste to these Baron guards in a matter of moments.
He's also going to get a nice little mini slingshot on that level 1 Cecil as well, so that'll help him quite a bit.
Yep, Cecil's now a real character. Invenerable finds the Kaipo guardsman here at Dwarf Castle, also free, pops a blizzard. That's the end of that. The officer's about to take a quick stroll away. Actually says attack first, but is about to head for the hills, run for his life.
Meanwhile, Baka's diving the Fey March, so we'll get some key item checks here in just a moment.
Yep, dancing guards for Invenerable. We're out to see what the second boss is here. It is King and Queen of Eblin. So no, everything is free. Nothing costs anything here.
Meanwhile, big development. Baka found the pan in the free chest in Fey March, so that's pretty big for him.
I mean, that is, if there's one item that I would want to see in the free chest as a runner, it's me. The first character on top of the Tower of Zot is the best white mage in the game. That's right, we have 2 rows. I mean, pour him.
The seed has got a lot of white mage in it.
I wonder why. It's got a lot of Edward, too. Do you want another Edward while you're here? Look, you passed up on the first one. We're going to give you a second chance. Do you want Edward? Because we've got Edward. Guess not.
Sadly, Dusty does not improve his party with that Zot check, and now he's going to fight the boss. Meanwhile, just a quick note, bakashinobi found in the Leviathan spot Octomom, and in the Ashura spot, Dr. Luge. Both not too bad, honestly, as long as you're equipped for the fight.
I mean, if you can stick a silk web on Octomom, or you still have that Moonveil, that's pretty straightforward. Options again abound for Luge there at the Asura spot. He's pretty fast, so that second form can get fairly nasty, but cuts a lot of the health out, thankfully, which makes it a fairly doable fight in that spot. So again, playing it safe though. He's got the pan. He probably wasn't interested in wasting time on long bosses when he could just go get 3 key items right now by Funking Yang with the pan. And the Sylphs, of course, have a rat tail, so that is another key check here for him. So he's just going to add on to his things to do as I fly around the world.
I think he's going to probably go do ordeals pretty quickly here, if I was to guess. I think it looks like Dusty did recover nicely in this Ogopogo fight, too, because I don't think he had full hit points going into it, and that initial double wave took out a couple of his characters.
Memes abound with Rydia's dead mom, though. It is a ninja shirt, so I mean, you can equip it to Edge. You've got an Edge. It's great. It's actually a really nice piece of armor, but I think that what they wanted was something impactful right now.
I killed this Mist Dragon, and all I got was this lousy ninja shirt. Meanwhile, Eizan finishes off Volvalis, gets the Twin Harp and an Avenger, so those are both fantastic for him.
Yeah, the Avenger, of course. Some people will call it Kane's best weapon because it applies the Berserk status automatically, um, allowing you to do piles upon piles upon piles of damage. Also, Invenerable picked up the Tower Key, and I'm not sure where that happened. I must have missed out on that one.
Must have been Dwarf Castle, but yeah, that's gonna send him running for Lower Babel right away. That's a pretty big deal as well. You always love having the Tower Key in hand when you go do that check. He probably peaked the boss as well coming down. I did not see who that was, so if anybody in chat noticed who that boss is at the top of the tower here, that is very useful information that I'm sure Invenerable has.
It was a moon boss, is what chat is saying, so we don't know what his plague spot is. The man of the black himself, the Knight Cecil. So I'm going to throw some Cure 2s at Kane here just to get him out of range to die to these 800-point swings, and he'll be A-okay. Let's call this a day. 945. Kane survives with a $143. Let's talk about Justice. Do you like... Oh! No, we don't like Justice. We like the Sylphs.
Yeah, Baka picking up the rock from Sheila. It was Sheila 1, however, although I suspect folks are going to find the pan before they do that Sheila 1 check. But Baka in very good shape right now with that Adamant first. However, does not have a way to the moon yet, so he's still got some work to do, but boy, you gotta love finding that Adamant like that.
eizantayama never going to have to do the hook route. That was a moon magma key at the plague spot.
That's what, I, as an advocate for early moon that usually bites me in the butt, I love it when I see it pay off for a runner, like finding that magma key there. So Eisen is already a winner at this point for not having to do that nasty hook route.
I mean, like, just options abound right now. We know where half of Go mode is. It does require that you get underground, but it is 100% free. Bakashinobi about to drop off the rat tail. Will Bakashinobi not be in Go mode with this because he didn't get the darkness crystal? Let's find out right now. Actually, let's find out in a second. He's turning the pink tail first. Oh, wow. Oh, if that doesn't send him to ordeals, I don't know what will.
Yeah, everything kind of falling into place for Bakashinobi here. Meanwhile, Invenerable finds a wyvern on top of tower and does survive, so should be okay here. Second item for Bakashinobi was a ninja sword.
It was a Same. Oh, wow.
Of the good variety, yep. So yeah. Eisen finding another very favorable boss in the Ogopogo spot as well, with the Vanilla Mylon fight. So Eisen enjoying his time on the moon now quite a bit more, I think, now that he's through that Velvalis fight. Dusty is also up on the moon now. I suspect Dusty probably feels like he's behind and is looking to make up some ground at this point.
And it's a lunar boss at the Bahamut spot, so we're probably not about to find out hashtag value if it exists or not. It's going to be hashtag I'm going to pop some sirens and get some levels here. But yeah, eizantayama having some fun on the moon. Bakashinobi, though, like I said, if that crystal sword didn't drive him up ordeals, I have no idea what would have gotten him here at this point. But he is going to have the big stick. He is going to overwhelm some monsters soon enough.
Yeah, and by process of elimination, we do know that Cave Bahamut fight is Plague, so that's actually a pretty easy fight to set up for as well, although obviously Dusty doesn't know that it's Plague, but he can get that manipulated fairly easily if he wants to, I would say.
Yep. Invenerable's got this Wyvern fight recovered at this point. It's going to just be a matter of getting through those hit points now as the life spells and the Cure 3s are going to come out pretty fast and furious here just to keep everybody alive. The spot doesn't hit super hard, so it should be A-okay here. Unsurprisingly, Bakashinobi is here on ordeals. If this surprises you, I don't know. eizantayama now just trying to keep the party alive from Mylan's really nasty, rare melee attacks and spammed lightning ones that are doing a whole lot of damage to that frontline Rydia. We're only 1,025 away from her dying, so I like her. I like his odds.
One hit point at a time.
But yeah, Dustygriff is going to get his levels right now. He knows he needs some power to make up some ground right now, if anything. Looks like Invenerable is trying to detonate this Rydia right now with the Kamikaze just to make sure that she's dead at the end, which of course is going to work out beautifully. 25 damage to Wyvern. If that killed it, that would have been amazing.
That would have been pretty swaggy on Inven's part, but he's either. I love how he's using, so that Rydia is currently functioning as a fantastic agility anchor, and then if he wants to, at any point, he can basically just do one fight, one grind fight if he ends up on the moon, for example, and we'll have her pretty much to nuke. So very, very smart on Invenerable's part.
Yep, dustygriff just does a snap grind here, gets his party to about level 30. He is good and done with that right now. I'm not sure what the play is at this point for him, but he's going to have to work that out for himself. Bakashinobi about to add on the Black Rock here. Darkness Crystal going to be in hand in just a moment here. Dusty's done with the moon. He's gotten his levels, and he was very happy with that.
And Invenerable gets the pass from top of tower, so that's really a good find for him. Might be the only runner with the pass for quite a while at this point.
Yeah, especially because he is likely to go grab that pan in just a moment and add that to his arsenal and get the adamant shortly thereafter. So then really opening up his options to chase the second item here. Bakashinobi found Pale Dim.
Yep, that's just on Ordeals, the final fight on Ordeals here. And he also knows he's got his Darkness Crystal now. Really interesting choice for Bakashinobi now as well, because he does have that Crystal Sword Cecil. Got to decide if now is the time to go up to the moon. He's also at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 key items, so he's not quite to 10, but he's getting there.
Yeah, we know if he does the D-Lunar spot, yes, it is. Yes, we all know it's Valvalla's Valva. We hate Valvala. She's scary. But he could go do that for a quick 10 and then be in big experience mode for the rest of the run for double experience. But all we've seen is the harp. There's an Excalibur for Invenerable, so he's not going to need that Crystal Sword. The Excalibur will do him just fine on Cecil here.
Yeah, the one thing I think that might delay Invenerable here, or maybe not delay, but even though Invenerable professes to hating the Feymarch, I feel like he's going to be obligated to clear those Feymarch bosses right now as well, and just take care of the entire thing in one swoop.
Yeah, for everybody making fun of this play for Invenerable, who states that he hates the Feymarch bosses, he loves the Feymarch free chest, so, please keep that in mind. Tower key was... What was the tower key item?
It was the Excalibur.
Yep. There's an Excal, but he adds on the pan, so he's going to be pretty happy with that, of course.
Sure enough, Baka headed up to the moon. I missed what Eizan got from Vanilla Mylon, but he is already at the Crystal Sword spot, so another boss check for him.
This is like the worst boss to see in this spot. Like, this is not what I want to see a Wyvern spot. I want to see something that takes advantage of those low stats for attacking that I could take care of. And Invenerable, of course, true to form, skipping on the two bosses there. Just going to take his pan and likely to get his rock at this point. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think that, yeah, the pan is a pretty big, message to get out and do those 3 free checks for sure. So not surprising to see that.
Rivers McCowan with the tech for the spot, which is berserk everybody and just get lucky. The actual damage output, and this is one of the few spots in the entire game where Globe 199 won't do quad 9 damage.
Unfortunately for Eizan, he doesn't have that Bahamut to do the second favorite strategy, which aside from Berserk Everyone is Berserk Everyone and then use Meteo or Bahamut and also get lucky.
I love how all the strats for orbs are either go slow, play it straight, or, reflect float for Quick Kid and get lucky, or start throwing AoE spells and get lucky, or berserk everybody and get lucky.
Eizan just kind of playing it slow and steady, which makes a lot of sense, to be honest. So, that's fine. Invenerable checking his rat tail before his Sheila items. Gonna have to double back, unfortunately, and check the pink tail, I would assume, as well, here in just a moment.
Well, you don't have to check the pink tail. It's not a key item. It is just a guaranteed top tier piece of gear. So he doesn't know that. I mean, so he knows that he's not going to do that again, but he's going to quickly probably pop up to Sheila right now. But yeah, doing around 2,500 a swing to the main CPU warp when it has about 25,000 hit points in the spot is just fine, honestly. We'll be here a minute, but it won't be super long.
Baka headed to at least maybe do a grind fight, but probably headed to the bottom of the moon from the look of things. Dusty's about to go through that hook route as well. It shouldn't have too much trouble at this point, I would suspect. So a little bit of crisscrossing here while we wait for Eizan to finish off the CPU.
Yep, Invenerable's got his first half in place here. So he's got the rock now as well. We're still looking for the second half here. Dusty's going to go back and save before he gets his team underground here. And bakashinobi's going down, going to dip down all the way. Going to get that. We know the Twin Harp is down here. We know that the Magma Key is here, which is not going to make him terribly happy, but he knows it's here.
Inven not checking that pink tail, although he does have an Excalibur, and he is going up to the moon now. For those of you who don't know, and I've talked to him quite a few times about this, but he is definitely of the mindset, like I am, that generally in these seeds you're going to find one piece on Earth and one piece on the moon. So that means if you got one, the other one's got to be on the moon or through the moon. So we'll see if that ends up being the case tonight.
Yeah, it's certainly a meta call. I'm not super opposed to that as the play here, so we shall see what is going to continue popping off the moon bosses here, as eizantayama is going to get through the orbs in just a moment here. So we're going to get our look at the Wyvern spot item here for our fourth moon check item.
There is a lot of stuff still left back on Earth that we don't know as well at this point, though. Both of those Fame March bosses, the Twin Harp, we don't know any of that. Eizan gets a Dragoon Spear.
Yeah, not what you wanted to see here for all that time that you put in, but he's going to crack exit. He's going to pop to the top, which means he's going to go back in. We still have two moon bosses to see. We still have the pale dim spot here, and we still have that looming large plague at the Cave of Bahamut here.
Yeah, not too much to say at this point. Eizan's really the only one that's showing us anything new at any point here for the foreseeable future. So be curious to see. He's got two more spots to check here on the top. Then he's going to head back down and immediately be able to go underground with that Magma Key, which we haven't really mentioned in a little bit, but that is super, super nice for him. Going to be a huge advantage for Eizan.
Yep. But again, we know that the Twin Harp is our only chain item we found on the moon so far, as chat's talking about the Luca Key. Luca Key is the only thing that's at large right now. It's the only chain item that we don't know where it is. We also haven't seen the spoon yet, but we don't necessarily need that to finish the seed. And of course, we have no idea where the Legend Sword is yet, which makes all of our runners a little sad.
Eizan doing the peek there as well. He's going to go find this plague fight, it looks like.
Yeah, he's going to go in. He's skipped the Pale Dim spot right now, so that is Pale Dim still open, Odin still open, two bosses in the Fame Arch still open. Luca Key, we don't know what's there yet because we haven't found it, so that's still open. So we're sort of running out of checks for the group here for all four of our runners, but everybody's got a lot of work to do still.
I think the one thing, if I was Baka or Inven, that would probably be nagging at me right now, and I'll throw in a third one for Baka, and that is that the Odin spot and both of those Fame Arch spots, not terribly overpowered, so that would be the thing that would probably be gnawing at me a little bit the further I got into this moon without really finding much of anything.
Yeah, absolutely. It becomes really interesting. I think a lot of it. Oh, look, Eizan gets up the Star Veil on the uncounted Rydia here. With the timing on this boss being not super fast. So his party will be permanently timer okay here for the balance of this fight, as long as that Veil holds up. Because all Plague can do now is spam count really slowly at him, and so he's gonna get through this fight a-okay here.
Yeah, really good stuff by Eizan. That's a really good strategy. It's pretty difficult to pull off the first time, so he's got a free fight on his hands now. Meanwhile, dustygriff is through to the underground, takes care of Kanazo here. It'll be interesting to see where he goes first.
Yeah, eizantayama with the big reward still with that magma key. You've got invenerable and bakashinobi doing work down here. They're both at the plague spot. Cure 3 popped for invenerable, going to keep the party alive. It looks like bakashinobi's going to take the dive though. He doesn't heal anybody, and he's getting hit for a little too much damage right now. And so bakashinobi takes a wipe here, and he's going to have to scrape himself back up and take another shot at it. Invenerable likes to talk about justice too, I guess. I guess he's into that.
Yeah, Baka feeling the pain there from Pain Man. Invenerable also took 2 tries to get through. I think it's worth noting, in addition to just how he's further along on the moon, Eisen is, but these have not been particularly easy fights, and Eisen has honestly made them look easy in a lot of respects, so big props to him for getting through these fights, and we'll see what he gets here. Is it value? It is value!
Oh no, here we go, it's over now. eizantayama just needs to get underground, and he's got this locked up if he just does things in the free order as opposed to the hard order. Dustygriff's going to be in a lot of trouble here now. At this point, this is not looking great for him. He really needed this to be double Earth this seed right now. The way that this is kind of played out for him, that wipe in Barren Castle might have just done him in here. It looks like this is not a good shot. There's not a good showing right now.
Yeah, but I mean, if anybody can come back from these odds, it's going to be Dusty. And if he plays his cards right, I think you can tell by what he's doing, he feels like he's behind. If he finds the adamant and decides to go up to the moon and just clear top down as opposed to bottom up, which is what it looks like Inven and Baka are both doing, I mean, he does have a chance to close that gap, but it's going to take a pretty specific series of plays here.
Yeah, this is very true. I mean, he just needs to beat one of them, too, is the interesting thing. But Baka and Inven are pretty much in lockstep. Inven with about a minute lead since getting underground. And it's been about pretty steady the entire way, and they've been taking about the same path the entire time. It's pretty unbelievable.
Yeah, also keep in mind, Baka did have to double... Well, he didn't have to, but... Invenerable did Barren Castle, or sorry, not Barren Castle. He did Dwarf Castle and the Tower. Baka did Pan and then Ordeals and came up to the moon. So they have not overlapped each other in that many ways.
Yeah, but they come back together on the moon at about the same time. It's just gonna be real tight. Again, the advantage is Invenerable's the only runner with the pass from the tower. Nobody else touched the tower at this point because nobody else touched Dwarf Castle at this point. But again, if eizantayama just goes to the Fey March, he is in the driver's seat right now to go get some free stuff. We'll see.
Yeah, and considering how this is going to play out for both Invenerable and bakashinobi, having that pass in hand for Inven is going to be a big advantage. Dusty, starting off with the right plays here, does go down to Fey March and get that pan, so he's given himself a chance. Let's see what he does here at these Fey March bosses here.
He's thinking about it. He's curing his party. That looks like somebody who's about to go in. I sense some going in here. I think he's going to take on these bosses, kind of knowing that Invenerable's not big on this spot, and bakashinobi's not always the biggest on this spot either. And so he's going to try and let his skill be his guide here.
Yeah, you just need to get some illusions and some silk webs up, and this is basically a free fight. So I don't fault him for it in any way, especially metagaming a little bit, like you said. He knows this is a spot Invenerable hates for sure. Maybe knows something about some of the other runners, but don't hate it at all. Eisen is going to get his pan here as well, it looks like. So boy, he could be finishing this up real quick here.
Yeah, I bet he's about to break this. He's going to break this one wide open. Once he gets that pan, he's going to be pretty well done with this place, I'm sure. That would be the sharpest play here, would just be to say, I'm out of here. I got the pan. That's 3 checks for one rock, and I'll come back if I have to. I'll leave a save behind. So yeah, but he'll leave the save behind, leave, and then come back to never see this place again.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, there he gets his pan. We'll see. We'll see what happens next. I'm sure he's at least going to go check these bosses. Meanwhile, if you want a Octomom clinic here, just watch what Dusty's doing with those illusions, and he's got that silk web on. This is basically a free fight at this point because of how slow Octomom is going to get, and with the blinks and illusions, he is not going to probably damage anyone meaningful for Dusty's party for the rest of this fight.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, you can see Octomom's already slowing down pretty massively here. He's getting like 2 swings with his Berserkers before Octomom can act. So, pretty straightforward. Should be pretty free at this point. We know it's not going to pay off, but bakashinobi with that crystal sword slides ahead of invenerable on Moon Clear here, so he's going to go down. Check the Ogopogo spot right now. As our runners kind of keep on moving on here, and going to find the Mylon Quintet there. I'm going to strap on the Avenger Sword and go to work here with Dark Knight Cecil, Light Knight Cecil, I guess.
Yeah, you can already just see the power of the Crystal Sword here for Baka. It is just such a huge difference maker. Eizan nopes out of those 2 Fame Arch bosses as well.
Yeah, he's got that pan. If he goes to Sylph Cave next, this is all over but the shouting and maybe a little bit of grinding to get the party up to where he wants them to be for Zeromus here. But yeah, this is the pan check. Free pan is free. Let's do this. And he's going to feel real good about this in about 3 to 5 minutes here.
Indeed. Always do your fetch quests, kids.
What is this? Final Fantasy 1 randomizer? Jeez. But yeah, that is the right call though. Always do your freebies. Don't pass freebies if you can help it.
Especially if you only need one thing left to finish the game. If he didn't have the Legend Sword, I would say volume might be better than expediency. But boy, at this point, you just want the fastest checks you can get.
Absolutely. I mean, he's not going to get it here, but he knows what's up here. Luca Key is down here for dustygriff, so another rabbit hole opens up from the Octomom kill. But we now know where that is, and I think he is going to go heal up. We'll see again. But yeah. What other Final Fantasy fans can I pander to? I've pandered to Final Fantasy XIV. I've hit up the Final Fantasy randomizer crew. Who's next? Who else wants pandering? But yeah, it is very unlikely we're going to hear music today. We are pretty music-free tonight.
Well, if the fans want music, they can definitely grab this seed for themselves at some point and go check it out.
I am glad that people got the pun in that one too. But there's eizantayama, our first runner in go mode right about now. As he's going to add that, he's going to add on that beautiful, beautiful adamant. 10 key items. He is done. If he needs to snap grind, he's going to snap grind. But this is about the end for him, and in a really good way.
Yeah, absolutely. And he could go check the Pinktail if he wanted, but I suspect he's feeling pretty comfortable with where he's at right now. Just gonna go do a bunch of grinding, go finish the game, and we'll see how everybody else kind of finishes up here.
Absolutely. And so yeah, time is forging. This is it. He's gonna go make his crystal right now. Invenerable is done with the Ogopogo spot again. He's losing ground because of that Crystal Sword Cecil, honestly. Bakashinobi is on orbs right now, making pretty quick work of this. Cecil's hitting for around 3,500, Jump's hitting for 2,700. This should be pretty academic, honestly, with the tri melee composition.
Yeah, we'll see as well. Eizan probably doesn't have to do a ton of grinding here because really he just needs to get his Rosa to a point where she'll be able to survive a big bang without too much trouble. You got 3 really good melee fighters, or I guess he never got Cecil, my fault. So he's got 2 really good melee fighters, and then can just kind of keep the team standing with those 2 roses, I'm sure, without any trouble whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you snap grind up to white to try and do a little quick push, and then just let your 2 berserkers take care of the rest of the work here, because they are armed to the teeth at this point. But yeah, eizantayama about to, looks like he's gonna patch up the party, probably crack a couple sirens here, have a good time, and then wrap this party up. dustygriff is taking on the second form of Dr. Legay. We saw before, of course, that big laser beam, because it does damage based on his current health. This spot's still fairly healthy, so that's going to sting a little bit. Bakashinobi is through orbs here. Again, not getting his go mode yet, but he's making progress.
Yep, well done getting through that, and he is ready to finish up. I assume he'll just finish up the moon here, probably stumble across that legend sword, either this fight or the next, and then he'll also be in go mode.
He's turned back around to go down, so it's going to be the next, because he's going to do Pale Dim Spot first. As we know, value is sitting in Cave Bahamut, because the memes are real and true, and we love them. eizantayama set up with Kane in the middle here, just to get these fights done just a hair faster. Learning white on the roses now. I don't think you grind Radia all the way up to nuke at this point. I think he's probably done now, if not shortly thereafter. Just checking some agility out here. He's setting up agility right now. Trying to get somebody to 28, probably.
Yeah, you really don't need to overthink this with the Cane and the Edge and then 2 roses. This is really, really free, even at this point, honestly, for Eisen. He could go anytime now.
Yeah, the roses are at like level 49. Again, he's finessing that agility a little bit here, taking his time a little bit, but it's a real quick check, thankfully. Asura is the boss at the Pale Dim spot. So, you know, fairly nasty in the early game, but right now with this current Cecil hitting for 5 grand all of a sudden, things are looking pretty alright.
Yeah, no issues here. Nothing is going to stand in Bakashinobi's way at this point.
Nope. Invenerable finishes up orbs again with the power of just Edge and Kane alone is still sitting pretty with that hard-hitting damage there. Yeah, Eisen just... dustygriff's only chance is basically Bakashinobi decides that maybe Cave Bahamut's not for him today. Just decides to go like do Twin Heart. Which is kind of harsh, but there's a white shirt, so... You know, ultimate power for the Rosa, so we'll have Rosa very well protected in the final battle here, which is fantastic. But he's done here. He's gonna skip town and head on over to, if he doesn't head over to Cave Bahamut, he's in trouble, but if he skips over to Cave Bahamut, he'll be in great shape.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would be shocked if he didn't go to Cave Bahamut next here. Invenerable doing the same thing. This is like kind of the standard path, so you know it's not really surprising to see the runners doing things in this particular order. Eisen, it's funny when you see runners excited, because he got back to the moon and just was so excited to land, he did not realize he was still at Cave Bahamut and is going to have to move that whale again.
He also took a moment to check the tracker, because he had to absolutely make sure that he had the crystal in his inventory, which is very smart.
Yeah, I didn't realize he didn't know he was at Cave Bahamut too, so he actually went all the way out of the airship and then back in. So again, this is like a really tense, really tight race. You can see little hints of that every once in a while when you watch the way the runners are playing. And for those of us up here, I mean, we know that Eisen's in really good shape, so it's genuinely amusing. But you know, at the same time, he's probably having a very, very minor heart attack when something like that happens as well.
Yeah, Blaze being one of the top runners of this particular randomizer, if he says that these runners are feeling it, I totally trust that they are feeling it right now. It's really hard to get over that in any sort of competitive randomizer situation, because it's dead blind. You have no idea what's going on. You can only play your game, which can be very difficult sometimes. But yeah, so it looks like dustygriff is turning in the pink tail here, going to get a crystal sword. eizantayama's taking the last walk at the seed for him. I don't know, Blaze. This means things, doesn't it?
It does. It means we have a very important question to ask here in just a moment. as soon as Eisen is done with this walk.
We'll hang on to that one for a minute. We'll let everybody savor the moment here, especially eizantayama. If he could see this right now, he would also be absolutely savoring the moment as well. Bakashinobi, though, that crystal sword sees still making quick work of the entirety of the moon, cuts down Plague here, looking to re-equip that crystal sword, looking to cast exit, looking to head for home. Bakashinobi, our second runners in go mode. Invenerable flying towards Cave Bahamut right now. Yeah, he's turned to the left. He's doing all right. He's going to find a legend sword down there. dustygriff's got the rock, but he is saving in front of Luca Cave, and I feel for him right now. He does not know that it's all over now.
Yeah, I think it's worth mentioning right now, as our runners are reaching the end game here, at least for Eisen, Baka, and Inven, they are definitely out in front here, barring some sort of catastrophe. These are four of the best runners of this game that we have to offer, and I think just kind of getting back to that comment I made a moment ago about how stressful this must be for them. They know that those dot duns could start rolling in at any moment because all of these runners are just so good at this game, and it could really just kind of come down to a matter of seconds in their minds, I'm sure.
So Blaze, chat's starting to get a little warmed up right now. I think they're feeling it at the moment. I think they know what's going on. What's about to go on? What do we need to know tonight?
We need to know whose butt we are going to kick this holiday weekend.
Absolutely. We've kicked 2 butts already today here, this fine Sunday. One more butt about to go up on the block, though. eizantayama about to give us our first look at Zeromus in just a moment.
Who do you think? Who you rooting for, Demi?
I mean, I have a meme sprite in this game, so I'm always rooting for my one particular meme sprite, which I have never seen before, which is the Seafood Party Pack from Final Fantasy 1.
Oh my gosh, that would be fantastic. I, as usual, would love to see Moon Miss, so here's hoping. I think there's actually 2 Moon Misses now, so I got better than average odds, I would say.
Yeah, you've got the double chance. That's like cheating. I appreciate that.
I guess Scala Kitty just loves the moon as much as I do.
I mean, the moon is fantastic. Don't get me wrong. I'm down with that. But let's see. eizantayama setting up for the fight. Invenerable legend sword now in hand. dustygriff finds a lightsaber, a holy sword that starts with L, and probably made him say a bad word. Inven's in go mode. Bakashinobi's making the run down. Invenerable's got the pass, so we'll see how that sort of plays out on the right side of your screen. But here we go for eizantayama, an hour, 24 minutes, and 5 seconds into this seed. What do we got?
We have Fusionmus.
Yeah, Scala Kitty letting us know, because she knows the origin of these seeds. It's a fusion dragon from Golden Sun, which I had no idea.
Well, I don't know that particular game. I think I maybe played it a long time ago, but I do know a beautiful Scala Kitty sprite when I see one, and that is fantastic.
Absolutely. All right, so Bakashinobi, as the crystal, he's making his way down. Invenerable about to forge up his crystal. Lost a little bit of time in the moon, but he does have that pass in his pocket here, so he's going to pop right up to Toria in just a minute. Let's see. So we've got the Avenger or the Avenger Cane for Eisen right now.
Yeah, it's also worth keeping in mind. Baka is the proud owner of a Crystal Sword Cecil, so it may be close between Baka and Invenerable, but I have a hunch Baka's Crystal Sword's gonna pull him through here.
Yeah, absolutely. And now Dusty's in Dwarf Castle here, so he's just trying to full clear the underground at this point in time. Again, this is probably a fine decision here, all things considered.
Yeah, I think it's worth remembering that none of our runners, especially Eisen, did not really full clear the Earth. So Dusty is just kind of holding out hope against all hope that the other half of Go Mode is here on Earth, and everybody else is wasting time on the moon.
Yeah, he's going to see that dot done when it does come through, assuming that this fight goes properly for eizantayama. And if anything, when you see a dot done in a 4-way race, your heart sinks. If you're not here, if you're not crawling down the bottom of the lunar subterrane, you are feeling sunk.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just this is going to be tough to tough for him, assuming that Baka and Inven don't have any problems either. Dusty is one of the best runners of this game. He is the champion of the World Series of Free Enterprise. He is just a great player of this game, and this one's going to hurt, I think, a little bit for him.
Yep, Bakashinobi just moments to the line here. He's going to actually get to this Roma's fight just a mere 4 seconds before Invenerable does. eizantayama is bouncing some whites around here to get a little bit of additional DPS, because his Kane's hitting decently hard at like 2600, but Kane, of course, does not usually hold a candle to Cecil in terms of damage. But he's zerking for like 5k. We've got some reflected whites going off here. He's just using Cure 3s to keep his party patched up and safe. Rose is at 2500 hit points nearly. Should be pretty straightforward here. Just a matter of how fast it goes down.
Yeah, I suspect his Rosa in the middle there is also on 28 agility, if I had to guess as well. So he doesn't look like he's having any trouble whatsoever with this fight.
No, he was absolutely sitting and finessing that agility for a little bit there in terms of his agility and his setup. But that's why he popped those extra sirens. I mean, that's why Rose is at 2400 hit points. It's just for agility purposes. Invenerable using that low-level Rydia. I know Bakashinobi's had a curse ring on his Rydia for the longest of times right now, so that's probably the play there. He's going to make his Cecil really angry with that Avenger Sword here. So he's going to get that Berserk Crystal Sword Cecil going right now, which should be pretty spectacular. Oh, only 5,000 for the first swing. Seems okay, I guess.
I mean, when you compare that to most of non-Palom Rydia nukes do about that much damage, so you basically got nuke on a stick for Cecil in this fight.
Yeah, and it's going to be incredibly fast. Rosa catches the nuke for Bakashinobi, though, which means likely that a potion is going to get thrown that way just for safety's sake here. Yeah, just going to top her off a little bit here. dustygriff's into the tower right now, so she's going to get his pass at the top, most likely. But 3 runners here. They are... eizantayama started with a lead, but Bakashinobi has a crystal sword.
I mean, never underestimate the power of Crystal Sword. It's just, you know, we don't have adamant armors in this flag set. Crystal Swords, or spoons, I should say. Crystal Sword's pretty much the next best god item that you could conceivably hope to find running one of these seeds.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we're just going to see, again, we're seeing Invenerable sort of scooping some, getting some white casts in here as well, just to sort of, again, speed the fight up a little bit. We've got crits left and right from the Trizert comp here. Riddy is dead and Bakashinobi does not care as Cecil, Kane, and Edge just go directly to town here.
Yeah, you need exactly 2 people to be standing here in Baka's party, and they are Rosa and Cecil, so...
Yeah, if we care about no one else, so this is going to be a real rush to the finish here. The big bang goes off on Invenerable's screen, so, about to lose his Rydia, about to not really care about that either, honestly. eizantayama just patching up the party, bouncing a couple more whites. He's got rocks. He's going to be the first one done, it looks like, unless Bakashinobi's DPS is so high that I just missed out on it.
He might skip rocks entirely, but yeah, Eisen in really good shape here.
Do we get swag white? Or is this one's getting reflected, right? This is not quite swag white, but... 75-52. Yeah, that's more than enough damage. That's plenty of damage. That's like
there's the Flash Crack and eizantayama in first place with a time of 1:29.42. GG's.
Absolutely. What a nice run from eizantayama. Bakashinobi does ping Invenerable at the line. Crystal Sword Cecil. Let's skip some rocks, shall we? We don't even get no fireworks for Bakashinobi. Hour and 30 minutes on the nose. Second place, rushing back to catch up to eizantayama and losing by only 18 seconds.
That's pretty amazing right there from Baka. Really, really well done by him. Made a lot of really good plays and handled all those fights really well. And it looks like Invenerable is still in perfectly good shape here. Going to be crossing the finish line in third place.
I believe the important lesson to take from this, everybody, if you're a new free enterprise runner and you have a crystal sword and you have a Cecil, you take the crystal sword, you put it in Cecil's hand, and then the DPS happens.
Yup, Cecil, ordeals, crystal sword, question mark equals profit.
Yeah, there's damage, also damage, and then damage plus damage, and that is, just damage plus damage here. All right, invenerable still reflecting these whites here. Looks like he should be in the clear at this point in time. Another 8 grand there. There's another big bang coming out. This is going to be a full power one. Not the end of the world here, but it's going to sting a little bit.
Let's not lose sight of the fact, too, that invenerable might be feeling incredible pressure at this point, seeing 2 dot duns come in while he was in the Zeromus fight. And the one person who did not dot dun yet is dustygriff.
Yeah. He might be thinking right now that it's coming down to nothingness. It's coming down the line here, but we'll see. Magics have become invalid for invenerable, so the black hole goes off. He's not healing at the moment. He's just he's hanging back at the moment. Okay, Rosa, the kneeling Rosa casts a cure for, so he's gonna patch up and be safe here. And he's going to get some fireworks now, so he's got to finish this fight up. Again, not knowing that dustygriff is been in the weeds for the past half an hour here. He's going to take that Dragoon Spear and fling it into Fugimus's face here. It's not going to be enough, but he does it. Nope, scratch that.
Actually was enough, just didn't get the flash because of the dart finish. So GG's to invenerable. We don't always get to see that, but well done.
Yeah, hour 32:24. So the top 3 runners here, all within 3 minutes of each other at the end of the day. dustygriff just getting his pass. He knows the play was the moon now. If he doesn't know that, I'd be a little shocked. But yeah, it's a tough out for dustygriff as our World Series of Free Enterprise champion, one of the top runners. He was #1 in SRL ranks for quite some time over the spring. Is going to finish tied for 13th place in Highway 2 here. Definitely a good showing by him, but just a tough bounce tonight for him.
Yeah, and that's the thing about the way this works is you just have one off night and you get sent home. That's playoffs for you. So Dusty just came up a little bit short tonight, unfortunately. We're trying to get Eizan, Invenerable, and bakashinobi all in here for an interview for all of you, since they really just kind of had about as close to a photo finish as we see in these 4-person races tonight. So we should be ready to get underway with that here in just a moment. And it actually looks like they are all here. So Eizan, GG to you on your first place finish, Baka GG on second place, and Inven GG on third place. I guess at the end of the day, they all mean the same thing. So congratulations to all 3 of you.
Thank you.
I think we'll go ahead and start with Eizan because he was the first one that got done. General thoughts on that seed? I know you were the only one of our runners who managed to dodge the hook route by finding that magma key up on the moon. How did you feel about your play in the seed tonight?
I'm just glad that magma key turned up because I didn't want to do K9.
Boo, magma key! Stay hidden, be underground.
Kanaza wasn't that bad. It was fun.
Hey,
You have a really strange definition of the word fun. I just want to throw that one out there before we continue.
I mean, I didn't see any waves. I had a pretty with the Bahamut. It was great. I got to go and have turtle soup.
Yeah, that was Baka. It was actually really interesting. So you and Invenerable cleared Kanazo basically at the same time. The only difference, and I'm sure you'll all watch the VOD later and check this out, but Invenerable had spent a little bit of time on the moon grinding for some levels, and you just went rushing in there, and technical play to get you through that Kanazo fight was fantastic. So talk a little bit about that for us.
I was glad I had practiced this in another race and knew the exact timing, because that's a scary fight. It's really easy to make mistakes on. He was going to murder this team because they didn't have a lot of HP. Yeah, knowing that you have to go through a throw rage after the punch is pretty much the most... It seems silly because it seems like it's going to be too early. Every time it was I threw this too early, and then there was the pause and he gathered the water and it's like, oh, phew, I didn't screw it up.
Yeah, well, it was really great to see. Really well done on your part. Because honestly, while you were doing that, Invenerable was probably like making himself a sandwich during that Kanazo fight, getting through that with all the levels that he had. So, Inven, what was your thought process as far as maybe staying on the moon versus coming back down and clearing that Kanazo? How did that part of the seed feel for you mentally?
It's kind of funny. We were talking about that a little bit, just the three of us in a PM while waiting on stream to catch up. And I'm honestly very impressed that Eisen went for it with that team. I hate doing Moon without either a really good way of cleaning up dragons or, maybe a black mage to have a little bit of elemental oomph for any bosses that have those weaknesses. So, although that's a very nice team, it's not one that I really want to tackle Moon with. So I just wanted to get my levels and push underground and see what I could find down there.
Yeah, I think you did have a couple tools there. Eisen, I know you were using those Artemis arrows to good use. What was your reasoning for staying on the moon and going that route as opposed to coming back? We might be having a little bit of mic trouble here with Eisen. I see him trying to talk, and we're not getting anything. So, for everybody else watching Dusty finish up here, looks like he is headed up to the moon on our streams now. Let's see. What are some other good things that we could talk about? Demi, did you have any burning questions that you wanted to ask this trio?
I mean, I'm generally pretty awful with the whole interviewing thing, let us be very honest for a moment here, but just kind of thinking about a seed like this where things crack open early, when do you start feeling like you've got that sinking feeling that everything's about to go horribly wrong? When do you start?
It's funny you asked that because I was, I love metagaming, but this was a seed where from pretty much the 1 hour, 10-minute mark on, I was thinking, it really doesn't matter if someone finishes here. I have no way of knowing where they went. Did they do Moon and go top down? Did they find it behind that Baron Key or Earth Crystal? Those Feymarch bosses, both very, very doable at any point in the game. So I was just like, even if I see someone wrap up, I'm just going to breathe and keep playing my game and not try to overthink it.
Yeah, when I saw that Darkness Crystal on our deals after coming back up underground from clearing the hook route, I swore a little bit because I knew there was no telling where anything came from with the metagaming here.
Yeah, no, I think that the way the key items fell, I completely agree. You had so many ways you could go early with the Baron Key and the Earth Crystal. And the Darkness Crystal added more options to the table. And then when you got underground, it was like, well, I was good enough to get through Kanazo at the Rubicon spot, so I could probably go anywhere from here as well.
Yeah, and then everything just gets really, really out there, and it's just hard to keep up with it as a commentator.
Yeah, that pink tail giving Crystal Sword was a giant flashing neon sign of go do ordeals.
Yeah, we mentioned that in the commentary where we saw that Crystal Sword drop. We went, well, good news, you're going to get your Darkness Crystal because there's no way any runner basically at any time for any reason is going to skip ordeals with a Crystal Sword and a Sea Soul.
Yeah, I was still scared just because I didn't know where to go. I had, a good chunk of Overworld to clear. I had a good chunk of Underworld to clear. I had the whole moon open to me. It's just... Where do I go? Where do I go? I decided on the moon just because I could slingshot Cecil and just get rolling on everything up there.
I mean, you had a Crystal Sword. You actually nearly caught eizantayama at the end there. Like, you were behind in terms of checks. eizantayama was in go mode about 6 minutes or 5 or 6 minutes ahead of you.
Wow.
I miss Crystal Swords. I'd like to find a Crystal Sword sometime.
If you turned in the pink tail, if you did your items the opposite on the Earth and turned into Sheila first, you would have had a Crystal Sword.
Yeah, I actually thought about that as soon as I did. As soon as I hopped out of the airship, I'm like, wait a minute. I'm over here doing things on autopilot when I have 2 items from Sheila. If she gives me a pink tail, I'm just going to grin and bear it. The team's good enough. So, I would have actually still been disappointed. I would have gotten the Crystal Sword and been like, well, no Cecil available. Here's money, for... I've already done shopping at that point, too. So I'm kind of glad I made that mistake, because otherwise I'd probably just be salty over it.
That's right. You never did Baron Castle, so you never saw what was in Baron Castle. You never saw what stopped dustygriff, honestly. In that he took a dive to elements at the second boss spot there.
Oh.
Ooh.
Yeah, we learned that Rubicant in that fight in that spot is deceptively hard.
Oh yeah, no, I was terrified. I hit Eddie for good reason.
Yeah, if he casts that Fire 3, your party is dead. And then if he casts that Glare right behind, it doesn't even matter. Your party is very dead.
Did Dusty end up going up Babel to get the pass behind Wyvern, or was I the only one who did that?
Yeah, he's got it in his inventory right now. So
Okay.
he did climb that. He did decide to climb the mountain. He did decide to climb the tower. He just got to the moon, and he is working down Valvalis right now as we speak on the stream.
Yeah, that was my clench moment when I didn't save after doing Tower Room, and I'd seen the sparkle on my way down. But I thought, okay, well, what's the worst case scenario? If it's Wyvern, maybe I can survive the individual nukes at full health. And it looks like it's time to practice my run buffers again. And practice them, I did.
Yeah, that could tell you know, that was a little bit of a moment there for sure. But you were able to get that Star Veil up, I believe, on Edge to pull that out. So well done there. And yeah, you were the only one of the three of you that had the pass. So definitely made it interesting there at the end. You and Baka basically went into the Zeromus fight at the same time. Just he had the Crystal Sword Cecil and you did not.
Crystal Sword Cecil, you gotta love it.
Yeah, first swing on Zeromus, 5,300 damage. Seems all right, I guess.
So that actually, another question I had jotted down for you, Inven. I want you to tell me how you felt going into the Zeromus fight at the beginning with 0 duns, and then how you felt about 2 minutes into the Zeromus fight when there were 2 duns.
Well, there was, of course, the momentary panic, because, you know, all of a sudden it comes down to just you and the one other person. But then, like, I basically told myself what I've been thinking most of that seed, that, okay, there were rabbit holes all over the place. It was wide open, very easy for anyone to fall down any of those rabbit holes. And so I really hope that, I mean, I love dustygriff, but at that point I'm like, let someone have chased one of those other things. Don't let me be, you know, don't let my dwarf castle into tower fiasco, you know, cost me this by a matter of minutes. And so I just calmed down, I didn't panic, and I made sure to keep my characters alive so I could finish the fight, and got through it. And now I have to do this crap again in a week. This group though.
Yeah, this is a pretty amazing group. It's, you know, we were kind of commenting at that in the beginning. Baka, how does it feel to get revenge on at least Dusty, but I mean, really, really strong showing for you tonight. I know you played all 3 of these folks in the round robin.
I was complaining that, you know, it's kind of annoying to get a group filled with people that I'd already played, but it's nice to go and have beaten Inven after coming in last place in the time that myself, Inven, and Peasants were in the race, so at least I beat him. Still haven't beaten Eisen yet, so maybe I can save that for next time. I'm happy to be continuing to move on, though I'm also realizing how stressed this is going to be because this group is terrifying.
Yep. So, Eisen, do you feel like you picked the right 3 runners to get yourself through to the round of 8? Do you think you've got one more in you next time around? Oh, right. His microphone is toast. I apologize.
He's typing in League Players chat if you want to peek there. He heard you at least.
Hey, all right. I am super tired. League Players chat, not at the moment. So I guess Eisen is still feeling it a little bit. I mean, obviously this group is still frightening. You know, you take dustygriff out and there's still 3 incredible runners here, so all very well deserving at this point.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. This is a great group. Did not have to fight Golbez this time, though. I think of the 3 of you, Inven was the only one who found Golbez. Inven, do you want to tell the others where Golbez was?
He was taking a spa day, just going for a swim in the waterfall cave, just living his best life, and I didn't want to interrupt him, so I just left him to his business.
Maybe he was taking a shower to go and get some extra, takes care of that fire vulnerability.
Actually, we talk about just how swole Golbez is in the after years, and I think that's the trick. I've long said that it's because he casts all this black magic while wearing full plate, but I bet if you go swimming in full plate armor, that's a workout right there.
Scala Kitty, our restreamer tonight, just want to make sure this gets over the airwaves as well. Mentioning that our next tournament match is going to be 11 p.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday on RPG Limit Break. So if you are wanting to catch another fantastic race, come check that one out. It'll be late night, but get curled up somewhere nice and cozy and watch that one as you're winding down for the evening. It should be a good time.
Yeah, that's the opener of Kabahi's group there. That's the Mist Dragon group, Kabahi Peasants, Zilch, and Dabi Two-Step. So Kabahi taking on the new guard, trying to maintain his status as the top of the heap there. That should be a wild matchup for sure, so you should definitely be out there for that.
Absolutely. And also just want to give a quick shout out to our tracker tonight. Iker doing a great job keeping track of all the key items and everything, keeping the layout updated for everyone as we went through this crazy, at times, a very, very diverging race in terms of who was doing what. So thank you for that as well.
Yeah, for everybody watching, though, dustygriff is on his way up Lunar Subterrane, so he's heading to the Wyvern spot right now where he's going to find a bunch of orbs. Which at this point in time, everything should be pretty straightforward for a runner of his caliber. So, if you just want to learn how to kill these bosses, just keep an eye out. Not that you haven't seen some really great methodology, but one more chance here.
Yeah, this is poor Dusty. I am so happy I avoided all those rabbit holes, but it is so easy for Legend to have been down any of them.
Well, there was so much stuff that all of, Baka, you skipped a fair amount of the Earth. Inven, you skipped a fair amount of the Earth. One of the most disciplined plays I think I saw was you had two fairly beatable Feymarch bosses, I would say, in Octomom and Dr. Luge, and deciding not to invest the time there, especially when you had that pan maybe burning up in your pocket, that probably took a little bit of discipline there, especially for those of us who love the Feymarch, like I know Invenerable does.
It's taken me the better part of a couple of weeks to break myself of doing easily beatable Feymarch bosses, but I think I've finally come to terms with it. Of course, I say that, and as soon as I'm going to pick up race, I'll probably go keep making that mistake, but it worked out tonight.
Yeah, I've been trying to tell myself, just because I can doesn't mean I should, because I can do it, but can I do it quickly? And the answer there is no, not really.
Well, that was another interesting moment early on in the siege as well, where there was the Fabul Gauntlet right off the bat in Antlion, and I know Invenerable noped out of that as well. So sticking to the plan of not wasting a lot of time when you don't necessarily have to.
That one I didn't feel bad about, just because it's Antlion, pretty much everyone's going to do it. And I did have a Silver Sword on Kane, which was enough to go and kill those soldiers in front, so I don't feel too bad about how that turned out.
Yep, it was fine, and you did get rewarded with that white spear as well, so that worked out pretty well. But yeah, it was pretty interesting. Inven actually got off to a pretty fast start out of the gates, I would say.
Wait, really? I felt like my start was terrible.
Well, it's probably because you were resetting out of everything rather than fighting it, but it did get you where you needed to go.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, you looked like you were a little all over the place. It looked like you were just like, so there's this metagame that everybody goes by, and I hate this, and I don't want any part of it, and I'm just going to do literally whatever I want. But yeah, again, it ended up working out decently well, all things considered. You took your Thor Rages down to the Gauntlet to get your White Spear, and then you climbed the mountain shortly after Eisen and Dusty climbed the mountain, so, the Warlocks of the Moon were definitely kind of game-breaking, as Simbu was mentioning, because that is actually a faster grind if you have coffins, and so you're able to kind of show off that it's basically it's basically Gold Dragon experience without the Gold Dragon effort.
I mean, from anyone, Baka, Inven, any thoughts on anything that we missed or anything you're looking forward to in your trios match coming up here?
Well, the last 2 times I've gone and had Inven and Eisen in a match, it's been a hook seed with magma available somewhere else and darkness crystal also available. So I'm waiting to see if we can continue that trend.
I'm just glad to survive another week. This is I maintain that Eisen drafted the deathiest group of death out of any 4. All 16 players are amazing, but Eisen just wanted to knock people out before we got to the 8-player playoffs. So it's just surviving another week is just all I could ask for. So I'm pretty content.
Yeah, same. This is another terrifying group. There's a lot of legends in.
Well, I mean, he drafted you and then knocked you both out tonight. So, I mean, he's definitely knew what he was doing, at least for one more evening. So, this was a really great exhibition as well. One of the things I did want to say to Eisen, I know he doesn't have the mic to respond right now, but the way that you cleared the moon at early levels was really, really great. Taking a lot of, not like impossible fights, but very difficult fights and making them look easy. And that was great to see, especially considering where you were at the time. And it was good to see getting paid off with that magma key as well. That was a good reward for that effort.
If only Mist Dragon held something, that would have been such a great punishment for the people who skipped the glorious hook seed.
Well, you know, we got value in Cave Bahamut, not a D-Mist. You can't always get everything that you hope for.
The memes will never die. And so Dusty has taken off. He has taken off to the west. He's going to land at Cave Bahamut. Going to go find some of that sweet, sweet hashtag value.
I want to just mention too, you know, Dusty finishing this seed off in this situation. I mean, I wouldn't expect him to do anything else, but this is really gutsy on his part. So, you know, well done by him. And it's a tough position to be in because I know Dusty, I'm sure, feels like he doesn't have to prove anything to anybody, but you also know that he probably wanted to at least play a couple more matches in the tournament before bowing out.
Yeah, it's always hard, but you know that's how it goes. You cannot win them all. Nobody ever does. But all you can do is put together the best showing you've got, and you know, again, dustygriff is definitely one of the best out there. So.
So Baka, did you, when you first saw that schedule come out, I know we talked about this at the time, because I was, you know, using the objective data that we had, I was putting together kind of a strength of schedule, I guess, and we determined that you had the hardest path to the playoffs of anybody in the round robin. How does it feel to not only have made it through your murderer's row of preliminary rounds, but still just living to fight another day again?
I feel that I've honored my opponents appropriately. This was murder. Every group was murder. This group is still murder. When do I get to have an easy? Oh wait, no. Every group is going to be murder from here on out. I'm just happy to keep going. I was super happy to make top 16. I'm super happy to have come in second in this match. These are all great players. I'm just happy to be here.
Well, I guess the three of you do get to plan out one more time here because it's not over yet, certainly.
And is this the group that combines with Kabahi's group for the final 8? I'm trying to remember the graphic off the top of my head, but I want to say that's right.
I know that we were the third group that was drafting, so I don't know.
Yep,
We
that
actually...
would mean that you... Go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah, Eisen just confirmed that in our group chat because he said that if he had realized that we could end up recreating Team Feymarch from last year, he would have drafted a little different to try to make that happen.
Well, live and learn another year, gaining a little more experience of how this thing does when you're kind of cruising through the playoff draft process. So, next year maybe we'll get it right.
I mean, by the time next year comes around, anything that bakashinobi is literally going to be a rematch with literally anybody else, so it'll be fine.
Who knows? We could be some more new blood, like myself and a fair number of other people were this year. So I guess I'm the only newbie in this group.
It is exciting to see. We have had some of the newer players taking some exits. Dusty's kind of on the fence because he sort of had his breakout performance during last year's league, but there's a lot of us. I'll kind of include myself in that, but Baka, you're the one that's kind of represented, I would say, as well as anybody else has in the league. So it's nice to see some of the newer guard advancing on in the tournament and not getting knocked out.
Yeah, I mean, there's still new guard alive in Dobby and in Peasants as well, so neither of them making a showing in last year's league and basically kind of coming around for, World Series, but not making a massive dent there either. So, again, the new guard is always, it's always nice to see that, people can still break in and make some really deep runs in tournaments like these because it's, it's important to note that, like, again, anybody can randomize or anybody can do this thing, so it's really what it boils down to at any given point in time.
Yeah, I started watching this league last year. I played a bunch of my own seeds and didn't really start racing until more than like 6 months ago, I guess. And I'm amazed that I'm here in the same league as the people who I was watching last year. I'm really happy about that.
Have you considered that you're good at this?
I don't know. It seems kind of skeptical to me.
Just throwing it out there. You just finished second. You beat Invenerable. You beat dustygriff. Maybe you're good at this.
I mean, he definitely learned from the best.
Yeah, you learned from You learned from El Magus. He's the best, and then you beat everybody else.
You had to correct yourself from Freudian flipping the truth there, Demi. You're not feeling anything.
I was gonna say Knight do it first, also, and all the names just came. There's so many good runners. It's fantastic.
I certainly have. I certainly watched a lot of this last year, and I've spent a lot of time watching how all of these runners play and pick up as much as I can from them. So there's a lot you can learn just watching. And yeah, this has been really exciting.
Yeah, I think it's... Go ahead.
I mean, I was just going to tell Invenerable that I love him. He knows that.
I just think I was going to mention, I just think it's a good reminder to any of the folks that are watching right now, because similar to Baka, like I started watching during last year's league, and this is where Baka was a year ago. This is where he is now. This is where anybody else that has an interest in this randomizer and doing it really well, like you could be in this position next year. Nothing's going to stop you. If you really want to learn, get better, just keep playing and learning. That's all you really need to do.
Oh yeah, and I'm not even a speedrunner. I've literally never speedrun anything. I just picked up this. I just play this randomizer because I have fun playing it, and racing helps it be more fun.
That's fantastic. All right, so is there anything else here? Because we do have dustygriff at the line right now. He's about to take this one home right now.
Thank you all for your work on the Restream team, both you and Demery and Moonblaze for commentating, Scholar for restreaming, and Ike here for tracking. And look forward to seeing you next week for our next match.
Yeah, everything Baka just said. Thanks to everyone who works to actually put these events on. I mean, I would probably still race this game even if, we were all just doing it in the dark, I mean, that's why we do pickup races all the time. But still, you all put on such a great show. Thank you all for your hard work. And I'm excited about these races this week. Good luck to all the other racers.
Yeah, GG's, and we'll see you back here next week. Good job tonight. And Demi, let's commentate this dustygriff Zeromus fight, because he's ready to take this down and finish things up.
Yeah, so he's got everything set up here. He's got the Trizerks going. He actually picked up Yang for an agility anchor here, so he's gonna sacrifice his level 10 Yang to Big Bang here. But we have Crystal Sword Cecil with the Avenger, so packing heat here. We've got the Silk Web going out right now. He's gonna Elixir just to make sure that there's no problems with Rosa here, or I guess in this case with Edge, who takes the hit from the nuke. Yang is not long for this world at this point as we get Shake number 1, but the Silk Web is out, and this again should be fairly straightforward. Rose on 2400 health. Again, when you do Moon, you end up with a ton of levels, especially when you find the last thing at Cave Bahamut, and it's the last place you do. Cecil hitting for a casual 7100 damage right there.
Also worth pointing out, this is by far my favorite of the Yang sprites that Scala Kitty came up with in the Fab Flag. So enjoy it for a few seconds here before he takes a dirt nap, but we don't get to see those cool shades anymore.
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess we do get to see him. He's looking up at us, so I forgot that's how that animation goes. But yeah, this is going fast. I'm not even sure we'll see another Big Bang with this party.
Yeah, absolutely. Just laying waste. Look at this Cecil go. Just like that was a low swing for 5700 damage. This is the numbers. The numbers game is real here. Like Cecil is doing more damage than Kayn and Edge combined at this point.
I feel like Rosa needs to get in on the action a little bit here, but Dusty just wants to bring this home. Gotta respect and understand that. So.
It is certainly the right play here. Just gonna line up that Cure 4, make sure everybody's patched up. Take no chances. Just ride this one out. Again, very standard the Trizerk plus Rosa fight here. See plenty of these things honestly, and it's again the runners make it look easy because they've all been practicing and they do it a lot, so they kind of know what's up. And we're already to rocks. Whatever, we're done. Let's get this over with.
Yeah, this was not messing around here. Just poor fusion miss. Just was not prepared for the wrath of dustygriff finishing this up. So GG's to dustygriff. Valiant effort tonight. Just didn't follow the correct path, unfortunately, and brings it home with a final time of 2:02:35.
I mean, he is an absolute legend. Like, he is definitely one of the best runners of this game. A couple of bad breaks, one bad bounce at Baron Castle, and then just value on the Moon kind of took the wind out of his sails tonight, which is a little tough to see, but he is a fantastic runner.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to see more of dustygriff very soon. Demi, I know you know a little bit about that event. Do you want to just give that a quick plug before we head out here?
Yeah, absolutely. So coming up, there's going to be a randomizer showcase coming up, and I need to get the exact date out of admin chat because I totally pay attention to these things because I'm tracking for it. But we do have an event coming up. GDQ is hosting a near week of randomizers on their channel. We have a 4-hour event coming up. dustygriff and bakashinobi are going to team up to teach us all how to play free enterprise, how to run these flags for GDQ, which is going to be fantastic. And they are then going to go ahead and commentate a race between second place finisher from last year's league and currently in top 8, Night Dew, against the ace of this group, the winner of tonight's race, eizantayama. So if you want to learn how to play free enterprise at a high level and then see some free enterprise play at an exceptional level as well, come on out. We'd love to see you.
I know I'll be there. That sounds like a wonderful evening on GDQ's channel. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, of course, it's Tuesday, September 17th, because it's an announcements where I could just go look at it. But yeah, September the 17th, Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Be there or not. It's up to you, but we'd love to have you, of course.
Yeah, and of course, just to mention along with that as well, we have a fantastic Discord community. You can find out all sorts of information about all of our events there. Just go to the website, FF4FE.com, and find the link to the Discord, and we would love to have you as part of our community.
Absolutely. So it looks like that it's time for us. dustygriff has politely declined the interview. But yeah, so anything else, Blaze, before we wrap this party up tonight?
No, I don't think so. I think at this point we're halfway through the knockout matches, and it's really exciting to see how everything's shaping up. Don't forget, next match is Tuesday night at 11 p.m. Eastern on RPG Limit Break.
Absolutely. So, of course, thanks to our restreamer, Scala Kitty, tonight, Akir, our tracker tonight. keep an eye out for the three gentlemen who survived this fine evening to schedule another match, because if it's anything like this first one, it is going to be an absolute barn burner. You better be there, because you don't want to miss out on this. But of course, on behalf of Moonblaze Wolf, I am Demarine2. We're going to take you over to Flurry14. He is restreaming one of the Hopen matches at this point, so I highly recommend that you go ahead and show him some love and show those new runners some love too, because they absolutely need it. This is kind of where maybe some of the rising stars of Free Enterprise, we don't know right now the Hopen next year. Who knows?